This is ABC15 Mornings.
Now at 6, a giant day ahead for getting kids back to school. One of the state's largest districts decides on a new plan. Meantime, we could learn if Maricopa County has reached all 3 of those health benchmarks.
Then new jobless claims just released this morning, and they are better than expected, but still not good. The figures come as out-of-work Arizonans are bracing to lose hundreds of dollars a week.
Yeah, we're going to dive deeper into that issue because we know it affects so many of you out there this morning. I want to say hello. Thanks for watching ABC 15 Mornings at 6 o'clock. Nick Saletti here in studio. Kaylee O'Kelly, social distancing from home today. Good morning, Kaylee.
Good morning. Yeah, we've been cruising through the week, and here we go into a holiday weekend. Our Iris Hermosillo is off this morning, but meteorologist Jorge Torres is in, giving us a sneak peek at what is expected to be another hot weekend. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Yeah, Kaylee, you're right. We're talking about another round of excessively hot temperatures beginning tomorrow and lasting through the holiday weekend. Right now, though, checking in those temperatures outside, not too bad on this Thursday morning. 80 in Chandler, 84 in Mesa, Glendale also at 80, and currently at Sky Harbor it is 88 under clear sky. Sunrise here in the next several minutes, and we'll be topping out later this afternoon once again in the triple digits. Yesterday was actually cooler than average with a high of 102. Today, warmer than average with a high of 107, and that's a sign of things to come over the next several days as we go into weather action mode tomorrow. We'll talk about the potential for some record-setting highs in your most accurate forecast.
All right, thanks so much. Chelsea Davis here. Good morning, everyone. I'm watching the roadways, and overall, we're still seeing a lot of green out there when it comes to our freeway flows. Overall, wide view, looking nice, especially the north side of town. If you travel on I-17, Carefree Highway, Loop 303. West side of town, if you travel on I-10, you will start to see some breaks as you travel eastbound once you get closer to the stack. I-17 approaching the stack, clear, but once you go around the Durango curve and then over to the split, you're going to see some of those breaks pop up. Just a higher volume of traffic, nothing major that's actually going to slow you down. East Valley, clear even into and out of Maricopa on State Route 347, and these desert drive times are amazing for this time of day. Take a look at our ADOT camera. Do you travel on Loop 101 near Frank Lloyd Wright Boulevard? If so, this is what your commute looks like right now. Pretty quiet, but I'll let you know if that changes.
Okay, Chelsea, thank you. Let's get to some major developments when it comes to getting back to school. The state's second largest district making changes to its initial plans. This morning, parents and teachers in Chandler will prepare to have kids in the classroom. Mark Thompson is live this morning with the developments that happened late last night. Okay, Mark, so break down what exactly is going on here.
Good morning to you, Nick. The Chandler Unified School District, they met for hours last night and they looked at a lot of different options, but in the end, they decided on a staggered return to the classroom. Now, here are some of the details on that. The district represents around 47,000 students. Here's what parents need to know. September 14th, that is the date for pre-K through second grade to return to in-person learning. September 21st, that would be the return for third grade through sixth grade. Now, seventh grade through high school, they wouldn't come back until the second semester on October 13th. The decision to return to class was not unanimous. In fact, it passed 3 votes to 2. And at the end of the meeting, the superintendent made a plea to parents saying that their concerns have been heard.
I thank the parents who have taken the time to send us those heartfelt emails, both sides of the issue, and the pictures, and they've all been read. And I think you can tell by listening to the board that you've been heard. It's just been a very challenging issue to navigate, but we thank the parents for hanging in with us and believing in Chandler schools.
Now, today we expect to hear from teachers and the Education Association. Now, it was revealed in last night's meeting that a survey was sent out to teachers, and what came back was that they did not want to return to the classroom until October. So some changes there. They mulled over a lot of things, but now it is a staggered start to getting kids back into the classroom. Reporting live this morning, Mark Thompson, ABC 15 Arizona. Guys, back to you.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. So he's talking about Chandler specifically, but let's talk about where the rest of the state and the counties go from here when it comes to getting back to school safely. We do expect to get an answer as early as this afternoon on this. In the middle of August, the state established 3 benchmarks. Some rural counties are already there, But the most populated counties have only met 2 of the 3 benchmarks. The positivity rate for COVID cases needs to have dropped below 7% for 2 consecutive weeks. Maricopa County Health Department will release new data today. It is expected to show we hit that 3rd benchmark. Public policy polls are showing education is a top concern issue here in Arizona right now, and that is why we are committed to helping you get your kids safely back to school. And you can see the reopening plans of every district by logging on to abc15.com/schools.
Several districts begin in-person or hybrid learning options. Some of them include Gilbert, Higley, Peoria, and Cave Creek. ABC15 Mornings will provide you team coverage on Tuesday as we see kids across the valley return to the classroom.
ABC15 Sports, sponsored by Sanderson Ford.
Good morning. A few weeks ago, the Arizona Interscholastic Association released a schedule for high school sports to get started. All of that came under scrutiny over the last few weeks, and yesterday, the AIA answered the question parents and athletes have been asking ever since. Will they be able to play this fall, and if so, when? On Wednesday afternoon, the AIA's executive board endorsed the latest guidelines for a safe return to sports and activities. With it, the fall sports season will continue as scheduled. That means all sports that have already started practice and games can continue as planned. And football now has the option of starting practice as early as Labor Day. That's coming up this Monday. Here's AIA Executive Director David Hines explaining why the decision was made yesterday.
We have had metrics that have begun going down over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks. They have been going in a positive direction, especially for the sport of football. We would not have been able to make this decision until this time right now based on the metrics. So the metrics have gotten to a place that we can start football practice.
This will be a living document that can be updated per recommendations as we move through the COVID pandemic.
Now, the guidelines that were approved are basically a blueprint for protocols that promote hygiene and a safe environment for athletes to practice and compete. Winter sports will start 1 week later to accommodate the late start to the fall seasons. And again, this is a very fluid situation, subject to change as we move forward into the fall. Craig Fouie, ABC 15 Sports.
All right, Craig, thank you very much. The CDC is now alerting state leaders and public health officials to be ready for a coronavirus vaccine by as early as November 1st. The original tentative timeline from the CDC was January. Some health experts are concerned that the vaccine is being rushed so it is ready before the November election. The CDC sent documents to state health officials encouraging them to figure out who they will prioritize for vaccine distribution and the providers that will administer it. The initial supply in November would be small, and then more vaccines would be distributed early next year.
If you can't afford your rent right now, you could have until December 31st to get caught up under a new federal eviction moratorium. President Donald Trump worked with the CDC on the order to stop evictions nationwide. To qualify, a renter must sign a declaration saying they had income loss, that they've tried to obtain rental assistance, and are making at least partial payments.
If you qualify and if you can declare that all of these things are true, the landlord can't file an eviction against you, period. And that's huge. And that's great for tenants because we want tenants to not have evictions on their record.
The moratorium goes beyond Governor Doug Ducey's executive order delaying evictions, which is set to expire on October 31st.
Well, happening today, just in time for the holiday weekend, AMC theaters are going to reopen all 12 AMC movie theaters here in the state of Arizona. And there are new safety guidelines in place that all customers will have to follow, including no refills on soda or popcorn. Masks, they are required as well, but you can remove them once you are eating or drinking inside the theater. You can find the full breakdown of the AMC Safe and Clean policies on their website. And there will actually be a new movie for theaters to show as well. Christopher Nolan's Tenet finally being released in the U.S. today after months of delays.
Harkins Theaters will honor actor Chadwick Boseman with a special tribute this weekend. Tomorrow through Sunday, theaters will have special showings of Boseman's most iconic movies, 42, Get On Up, and 21 Bridges. Tickets are only $5 and proceeds will benefit cancer research. Bozeman passed away last Friday after a battle with colon cancer.
It's 9 minutes past 6. Up next here on ABC 15 Mornings, so many of us doing our jobs from home, the kitchen table, the living room, maybe the hallway. So, question here, can you write off work from home expenses because of this pandemic? We'll talk about that.
We're exactly 2 months away from the election. One party calling for law and order, the other party saying it's a battle for the soul of our nation. Up next, we cut through the noise and show you a group working to get people to vote and hold our leaders accountable. 6:13, your voice, your vote. Today, former Vice President Joe Biden heads to Kenosha, Wisconsin, 2 days after the city got a visit from President Donald Trump. Biden plans to meet with the family of Jacob Blake. His shooting by police has been causing unrest in the city. 2 people were killed during protests last week. However, demonstrations have been peaceful and officials lifted the curfew last night. Meantime, President Trump will campaign in Pennsylvania later today.
Well, a volunteer group here in our state has some new goals, and that is to hold elected leaders accountable, train the next generation of leaders, and most important to them of all, get people to vote. So this morning, our Justin Pizzera is introducing us to Our Voice, Our Vote, Arizona.
Hi, sir. My name is Manny. I'm a volunteer with Our Voice, Our Vote, Arizona.
On a hot September afternoon, community organizer Manny Trejo and State Representative Reginald Boulding are going door to door in Legislative District 20.
Let's look some literature with them.
We'll be targeting 200,000 voters this election cycle.
I see it right here.
Racially mixed and politically diverse, District 20 is as good a place as any for Our Voice, Our Vote Arizona to focus on its voter outreach.
One of the things that we want to make sure is that voters are a part of the new American majority, so voters of color, millennials, women, those who have historically been underrepresented, we want to make sure that they go to the polls and they have their voices heard.
You guys are serious? You're actually Democrats?
The pitch is often met with cynicism, but in this time of polarized politics, any face-to-face encounter matters.
No worries. You have a great day, though. I appreciate your time. I think those conversations are especially rich because they get to hear my perspective. I get to hear their perspective. It turns into a conversation, you know, because you have such polarized groups and they might not always come together.
I keep an open mind. I don't go for all this craziness.
No worry.
Pay attention to everything.
Boulding says most people they contact are excited to engage in the conversation, and he believes the more people they meet, the more likely they will vote.
Our Voice, Our Vote Arizona is a community power building organization with a focus of making sure that the community's voice is actually heard.
Making those contacts is challenging. Not everyone answers the door. Not everyone knows their vote can make a difference.
When you aren't civically engaged or you may not grow up in a household that is, you know, how are you supposed to know why it's important to vote?
And this group is concentrating most of their efforts in both Maricopa and Pima counties. Volunteers are out Tuesday through Saturday, and the deadline to register to vote here in the state of Arizona is October 5th.
Meantime, the Phoenix Suns and the Mercury are securing Veterans Memorial Coliseum, also known as the Mad Hassel in McDowell, as a voting center. Talkie Stick Resort Arena is undergoing renovation, so it's unable to be used for the upcoming election. A task force, including Suns owner Robert Sarver and Devin Booker, work with state and county officials to find a voting venue. The Coliseum will serve as a polling center and early voting ballot drop-off location.
ABC 15 Desert Drive Time, sponsored by Accident Law Group.
All right, thanks so much, Nick. Chelsea Davis here, watching the roadways for you. Overall, a quiet morning, and not only for the freeways, but also surface street level, which is great. So hopefully it stays that way. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. I'm watching the east side of town. We're looking at green flows overall, especially for all of the Loop 202s, Red Mountain, Santan, and South Mountain. US 60 has a great desert drive time as well. If you're traveling westbound between Loop 202 over to I-10, 15 minutes to go 17 miles. North Valley, green conditions. Remember that I-17 southbound off-ramp at Happy Valley is going to be closed through the beginning of October, so you have everything nearby like Joe Max, Pinnacle Peak, Deer Valley. If you travel on the 17 southbound from Loop 101 through the stack around the Durango curve over to the split, it'll take you 24 minutes to go 20 miles, averaging around 50 miles per hour. West side of town looking clear for all of those valley freeways. Take a look at our ADOT camera. This is what you'll see if you travel on Loop 101 in the southbound direction approaching Thomas. You're going to see a beautiful sky and really not too many people out there approaching that interchange.
Thank you very much for that report, Chelsea. A nice start to this Thursday across the state with clear skies and some breezes at times. And it's a mild start, too, with temperatures generally in the 80s, at least in the valley. Up to the north, though, obviously a little cooler there. The Grand Canyon, 36 degrees. It's just 4 degrees above that freezing mark. Already a taste of fall up in the high country. 47 currently for you folks in Flagstaff. 50 in Heber and 54 in Show Low. But as you head toward the lower deserts, obviously a little warmer. In the 80s right now in Phoenix, Gila Bend, and Lake Havasu City, now at 87. Those dew points or moisture available at the surface is very high, so it's another humid start to your morning, but we expect those numbers to go down gradually throughout the day. So as I mentioned, that muggy meter is in that muggy category, with those dew points generally in the low to mid 60s for now, and they'll be a little higher here and there, but most of us will be seeing those numbers go down. That is some good news if we don't get any rain, which we're not going to, obviously, for the next several days. A look at the planner for the rest of your Thursday, showing those temperatures starting off in the 80s this morning, heating up to the 90s by 9 o'clock, and then by midday, we're right at 100 degrees. In fact, our high will be 107 today, and look at areas to the west. Lake Havasu City, 110. Bullhead City, 113. Kingman, up to 104 this afternoon. 90 at the Grand Canyon. 80s, though, as you head toward the high country and along the rim. Globe, 99. Safford, 105 later today. And then tomorrow through the holiday weekend, we go into weather action mode as excessive heat warnings take effect, starting on Friday with highs in excess of 110 degrees. So everyone is at risk for heat-related illnesses without adequate cooling, not just for tomorrow, but also throughout Saturday, Sunday, and Labor Day. So I know many of us want to enjoy the outdoors. If you can, try to limit your time out there, especially during the hottest time of the day, which is about 10 in the morning until 6 in the evening. Now, as far as the potential for record highs, well, we're calling for a high tomorrow of 113. That would beat the previous record of 112 set back just a year ago in 2019. And if we do hit 4 110-degree days, that would tie for the most amount of 110-degree days in the entire month of September. It happened in the 40s and also in 1982, so I have to watch that very carefully. 7-day forecast showing those temperatures, as I mentioned, exceeding 110 beginning tomorrow, lasting through Labor Day, and then those temperatures drop just a little bit beginning Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, with occasional breezes returning to the forecast.
All right, Jorge, thank you very much. So many of us are working from home right now, and you might be wondering come tax time if you'll be able to deduct some of these expenses. No, well, at least not for most people. Employees of companies are not going to be able to deduct home office expenses, but people who do own their own business can. Tax experts are saying there are also no write-offs for homeschooling or virtual learning, but a few states do offer state income tax credits for homeschool families.
If you give a child a book, you give a child a chance at a better life. That's why we're taking action, holding a donation drive today, benefiting Arizona's Children's Association, getting books to kids in our community. They give out nearly 8,000 books a year to help. You can donate online at abc15.com/giveabook.
Up next here on ABC 15 Mornings on this Thursday, the coronavirus canceling concerts and vacations. What you can do if you are struggling to get your money back. Plus, an alarming revelation from the Department of Economic Security. In a matter of weeks, hundreds of thousands of people who live here in Arizona could start to lose some of their unemployment benefit money.
.624 from vacation rentals to air travel to concerts. So many things have been canceled because of the coronavirus pandemic. But the worst part for some is waiting for a refund. Kathy Seifeld had to cancel a beach house.
It ended up costing us almost $14,000.
The VRBO offered a voucher, but no refund. Eula Williams and Lainey Daly had a flight canceled, got vouchers that have now expired.
There's nothing they can do about it that my money is gone.
Michelle Harper was planning on concerts.
Personally bought Nickelback and the Doobie Brothers.
When they were canceled, she contacted Groupon.
They were only giving Groupon bucks. They weren't issuing any kind of money back to your cards.
No refund means you should appeal to customer service. And if that doesn't work, contact a supervisor and send an email to the company. Still no luck? You can dispute and file a complaint with your credit card company, then the Better Business Bureau, and finally the State Attorney General's office. And to better protect yourself, try to pay with a credit card, not a check or a debit card.
Well, today the Arizona Cardinals are going to be wrapping up training camp at State Farm Stadium. They're going to be moving back to the team's headquarters in Tempe over the weekend. The Cardinals, by the way, are just 10 days away from their season opener at San Francisco. Their home opener is happening the 20th of September against Washington. And as of right now, the Cards will not have any fans in the stadium for at least the first 2 home games, but the team says that it will not be ruling out the possibility as the season moves right along. Also, since we're talking about sports, let's throw soccer in the mix. Phoenix Rising FC traveling to Nevada to take on the Las Vegas Lights FC. You can catch all of that action live Saturday night at 7:30 on the CW61 Arizona, or you can stream it live on the ABC15 app, on Roku, and these other streaming devices.
Next at 6:30, the clock is ticking. Will Congress or state leaders take action before Arizonans begin to lose unemployment benefits? Plus, new this morning, changing its election strategy. For years, Facebook has been accused of spreading misinformation. Now the social network makes an unprecedented move when it comes to political ads.